Welcome back, everyone, to our second episode of Cats Chat. Also on some of our social medias, Cats Chat Pod. Just so you know, we're so thankful for everyone to join us back on this next episode. Still haven't had the chance to put onto the podcast where we can upload everything on that. Bear with me. I apologize. Working 9 to 5 plus my babies, trying to keep them happy. Sometimes we'll forget to do some things. Mark, I apologize on that.
That's all right, man.
But how are you doing today? Of course, I know you rushed home for an episode because you had to do the Meet the Black Bears, and
we have Meet the Black Bears for football. Football season's getting ready to start in the mountains. But I tell you what, I'm excited about basketball this year.
Absolutely, for high school level, I'm assuming
high
you're talking about
level and college. I'm excited.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on, at least in the mountains, that I think for us, I know we may have people watching from Somerset, out Western Kentucky, Northern Kentucky, Lexington, different places like that. But us here in Harlan County, the mountains, when it becomes the fall time as the leaves change, football's going on. October 15th was my second birthday, which is funny because my wife and two of my three kids are born on October 14th. But October 15th seemed like a second birthday to me because it was the start of high school basketball. And, that's when everything gets going. So, yeah, we're about to get into a lot of sports going on, at least in the local area here. Of course, 13th region's been wonderful. Went to Alice Louis College where I learned more about the 14th region, all that, different schools over there. So it's an exciting time when school's about to start for sports, we'll say that. Because I know you're a teacher. I'm sure it's not exciting to be starting school, but
yeah, maybe not the teaching side of it, but the sports side of it. I love calling games. I love investing in these young people and just doing all that. And of course, I've always loved UK basketball, and that's what led me to doing this podcast with you. And we have a very special guest lined up today.
Absolutely. And I will go ahead and let you go ahead and do that introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, with us today is
listen to that announcement voice.
He was Mr. Georgia Basketball back in 1992. He was the Gatorade Georgia Player of the Year in 93. He's a two-time NCAA champion in both 96 and 98. He was also the NCAA Final Four Most Outstanding Player in 1998. Mr. Jeff Sheppard is with us today.
Hey, guys. Good to be with you.
We're glad to have you. I'm
so thankful. I felt like Mark was introducing you to about like the bust out in your own 15 jersey coming out, running down the line, starting lineup on that. But Jeff, again, thank you so much for joining on to the show. This is like the best Kentucky podcast that there is. I don't know if you know that or not, but 2 episodes in, we're doing great things. But again, as I've said 5 times now, thank you for joining us. We're just going to kind of do this quickly to respect your time, what all is going on here with some questions, and just kind of talk a little bit about that, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
Great. My first question is, of course, Mark kind of already mentioned this about your 96 team and the 98 team winning the championship. Which one was your favorite team? And I understand you got to be a little patriotic on and give them both, hey, they're props there, but which one did you enjoy most?
Well, 1998 was my senior year. And so when you play your last game for Kentucky and you win your last game, then it's very special. I had a bigger role on the 98 team than I did on the 96 team. So we weren't expected to win in 98. It's definitely hard to pick, but if I had to pick one, I would pick the 98 team just because it was unexpected. We made some incredible comebacks.
Oh, yeah.
And, it was my last shot. I can remember being on the floor, getting ready for the national championship game, stretching and kind of thinking through, in 2 hours, I'm either going to be another national champion here, or we're going to come really close. And it's a heck of a feeling to be down there and kind of prepare for your last game at Kentucky, knowing it's your last game and it's also the national championship. So it was pretty cool.
I think that's when you played some of your most outstanding basketball, was in the last 2 games of that, in the Final Four against Stanford, you guys were able to pull out a win in overtime. I think you had like 27 points in that game, if I'm not mistaken. And then you went on to beat Utah in the championship. You just had 2 back-to-back outstanding games, which I guess is what led you to being the most outstanding player of the games.
Yeah, our whole team was playing our best basketball of the season, which is an ingredient that you must have in the NCAA tournament to win it. You have to have talent. You have to have some good breaks go your way, but you must absolutely be playing your best basketball during the tournament, or you just don't have a chance. Mm-hmm. And so we were. Everybody kind of knew their role. We were very confident in our role. We were very confident with each other, with our coach, with our system. We also had a lot of experience. I had the advantage of being in the NCAA tournament a lot. I played a lot of tournament games in my career. We had a team in 95 that had a chance to win the championship. 96, we win the championship. 97, I was with my teammates. Didn't play, but I was redshirted. But I went through that whole journey with the guys. And then 98, all the way to the championship. So I played a ton of games, as did a lot of my teammates. And so the NCAA tournament was a familiar place for us. And it's usually not a familiar place. It's hard to get there. It's hard to stay in the tournament. And for us, we had a lot of games under our belt, and that gave us a real advantage.
Oh, I wanted to ask you about the red shirt. I wondered, how difficult was the transition? You're playing for Pitino in the first, when y'all win your first national championship. Then you red shirt a year, and then you have Tubby there for the next championship. Was it a hard transition to go from one coach to the other, or?
Yeah, in the beginning it was, but we had a real veteran team, and Coach Smith was the coach that was making the transition. And so I don't know that any other coach could have done it better. He's so humble, and he kind of came in to Kentucky knowing that he was, inheriting a team that was very successful. He had coached against us, so he was familiar with our personnel. And he kind of joked in the beginning saying, if I can't beat you, I might as well join you. and he really just kind of implemented his system, but also allowed us to kind of give feedback on certain things. And, he didn't want to completely change what we were doing, because we were used to doing that, and we were winning, and we were doing it well. So we wanted to kind of just almost have a hybrid style of play between what we were doing with Coach Pitino and his principles, and that blended together. And it really didn't work great until February and March. Early in the season, we were winning, but we were winning ugly, and we weren't clicking on all cylinders. So it took us a while to find our groove. And thankfully, like I said, February, March, we found that groove, and we got on a roll and got hot at the right time and ended up at the top.
Now, I didn't think I would end up asking a question like this, but kind of what we're talking about here, I'm interested in knowing and asking you. Tubby Smith was one of my favorite coaches. I actually reached out to him while he was in Minnesota. I have no shame, as you can tell, on trying to reach out to people. But I found out what his email was just, with Minnesota there, and actually just told him how much I loved him. It's his time here and what all he was doing, loved his schemes and everything. And told him that, can't really support him in Minnesota or watch him on TV back in the early 2000s, just not globally like that, like it is now. Anyways, long story short, he actually sent me a Golden Gopher shirt from him. And I thought that was really nice that he did that, very humble of a guy. But, a lot of people in Kentucky, they always want to say Tubby wasn't the great coach for Kentucky. Pitino is much better. And one of my arguments is kind of what you said is, Tubby Smith, that style of what you all played wasn't really what he liked very much. It was more of a slow pace, give it to you, big man, create off of that. With, your guys, it was guard heavy, very athletic players going on, everything. And to me, and I want to ask you this, that kind of shows how much of a better, I won't say better than Pitino, but a better coach than what a lot of Kentucky fans give him, to be able to evolve into eras or different styles of coaching and make it gel there, right? I mean, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the best coaches in college basketball history, not necessarily because of his winning multiple championships, because he hasn't, but because of how he has poured into and developed the young men that he's developed. And ultimately, we judge coaches based upon wins and losses and championships. We probably shouldn't. We should probably, judge those coaches that get their hands on student athletes differently. And so it's just the society we live in, and that's okay. But those of us that played for Coach Smith understand what he did, how he poured into us while we were playing for him, and how he continues to do that. Even though we're done playing for him now. But he was a wonderful coach at the right time at the University of Kentucky. Had a style of play that got to the point to where the program needed to make a change, and they made a change. And so he understands that. Kentucky is a tough place to coach. It's a great place to coach. It's a tough place to coach. It's a great place to play, but it's a tough place to play. And all of that makes it special, and it makes it Kentucky basketball. And when you realize that, then you can kind of have perspective, and you can work through the ups and the downs and not lose your mind. And most can't do that. Tubby Smith was able to do that with excellence.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, not only did you win 2 NCAA championships, you won a championship in Italy as well, didn't you?
We won a kind of a mid-season championship. We lost in the Italian League finals when I played for Benetton Treviso.
Yeah.
When you play overseas, you play in a lot of different things simultaneously.
Yeah.
You're playing in an Italian league, and you're playing in a European league, the Euro Cup, and you're playing. They have some mid-season tournaments and that kind of thing. And so, we were able to win a pretty prestigious mid-season tournament that was a nice championship. And yeah, it was a wonderful run over there. Great basketball. Played for some great organizations, and really thankful for my time over there as well.
Yeah, Matt says he wanted to be Jeff Sheppard and Tony Delk when he played in high school.
Well, I think more like
all of us did.
Tony Delk than me. Tony was one of the best players of all time, so he was incredible.
I will say that Tony Delk is my favorite. I do apologize. No offense, Jeff, but that 00, they used to call me Double Donut when I wore 00 in high school, but it happens. But speaking of Italy, some of your times playing there, I didn't know this. Mark, my brother, we was talking before we got on here, and I didn't realize this. But Mark, I'll go ahead and let you bring it up there. I don't want to steal one of your questions just about the end.
I'd read an article about what caused you to get out of playing overseas was 9/11.
Yeah. Yeah, I was in Rome when the terrorist attacks happened. Our daughter, Matt, now 23 years old, had just been born, and she was here in the States with my wife, Stacy, and I was in Rome. And so, as you remember, that the world changed that day. And for a period of time, we didn't want to leave our house, much less the state, much less the country. And so it was a difficult decision. I was having a good career in Italy and playing professional basketball, had some great relationships, but we just had to, make a decision as a family, and decided to step away at that time and kind of transition into the workforce and being with my family, raising our family the best way that we know how. And it was a good run. Basketball was great to me, and but at some point it ends, and it ended for me there right after the terrorist attacks in Rome, and we're moving on kind of from there.
Right. And speaking of family, you have a son that's fairly talented as well.
You have a son?
I do have a son.
How neat is it being on the other side now? Like you're watching him go to UK, go play. Like how I know it's got to be an awesome feeling.
It is. I mean, we've been, Stacy and I have been Reed's parents his whole life, and we've been watching him play. He's just now playing for Kentucky, and he's that much more visible and public for everybody to see as well. So, I mean, we've been on this journey, for 19 years, and it's been great. Same type journey with our daughter. She played high school basketball and then went to Campbellsville University and played there and had a wonderful run there. So, yes, the Lord's been so good to us and just given us so many fun opportunities to travel and watch our kids play and enjoy the ride with them. Obviously, Reed being at Kentucky is very special because of Stacy's background at Kentucky and my background at Kentucky, and it's Kentucky. So, you put all that together, and it is very special. But at the same time, he's still Reed. He's still our son. And we appreciate the opportunity that he's been given, and are excited to continue to pull for him and chase him around the country and pull for him and his teammates. And neat to see, all that's going on inside of that team right now. And just like, everybody that's out there, we're fans as well, and hoping that they can do some really big things this year.
I did see a clip or a reel, I guess is what they call it. I'm too old for this stuff. But I think it was you and your wife walking down the street going to a game. And, of course, you have a big holler out in front of a sign there with the 15 on. You are a fan. But I want to know a little bit deep in this as far as, because your background of playing for, Tubby, for Patino in Italy, everywhere else that you've played. Has it been hard for you as a dad to sit in the stands and think, oh, man, that coach has got Reed doing this, or, we've worked on this, and why isn't he doing this? Are you one of the loud dads out there that's trying to coach from the sideline and help him out? I'm not saying it in a bad way. Or are you like, okay, this is the coach's level. This is what he's got to do. I'll talk with Reed afterwards, be like, hey, this is what we could have done to improve. How is that part of being a superstar at Kentucky to dad figure to leading your son on that?
Yeah, I'm a loud dad, not necessarily from a coaching standpoint now. Used to be. I used to coach him, and during middle school and high school, I would yell, really not necessarily things that contradicted with the coach, but things that I would notice just from his effort level, or his, if he's not rebounding or not, playing with a level of intensity that I think he needs to play with every time he steps on the court. Now he's his own guy. I can't, if I'm yelling, I'm yelling for him, for his teammates, against the referees, things like that. So I'm yelling as a fan. It's important as a dad to allow your son to be able to be coached and led by the coach and the leader of the team. If he has multiple voices coming into his head, then it doesn't work. No matter what my background is, and no matter who the coach is, it doesn't work. And so plus it's time for Reed to be able to be his own player. He's heard my voice enough. We've done enough to take him to the point where we take him. And, it's time for him to hear other voices, and those voices know what they're doing. So, I don't have to worry at all about it. And I can sit back and enjoy this, be dad, be for him. And I am for him. I'm for these guys, and it's going to be fun, and I'm going to be loud. So I'm excited.
And I want to say, just from a teacher standpoint, and as like where I call the ball games, I appreciate you and your wife so much. He was such a respectable young man. Times I got to talk to him, and you don't see that all the time, especially from ball players that have the higher profile or whatever. But he was such a respectful young man, and I love the way he carried himself on the court. It wasn't always about him. Sometimes he was just trying to make his team better, and that's what I loved about watching him play.
Well, I appreciate that. We're thankful. He's been raised not only by us, but he's got a big family. He's had a great support staff. Nate Valentine did a great job at North Laurel. Mike Black is the principal at North Laurel. So many great assistant principals and teachers, librarians, all the way down to his elementary school teachers and principals and middle school. I mean, we have personal relationships with every principal, every teacher in our community. And it's the cool thing about being a part of a small community.
Oh, yeah.
And, people look and say, well, why didn't Reed go to this prep school and play and go over here? And I was like, are you kidding me? Do you know how special it is to have a child go through start to finish a school system that's for him, that knows him, that knows his parents? We know them. We're in the same church together. Some of us, we're in the same community. We can communicate with each other. We can rally together and be for not only our children, but the other children in the community. That's powerful. And to give that up, absolutely not. And so
I respect you for that.
Yeah, I mean, he's the byproduct of a community that's raised not only him, but other kids in this community, his friends and teammates and that kind of thing. And so, we did our part as parents, but this community is to thank. His church is to thank. He's been surrounded by people since he's been born. In the nursery and all through his Sunday school teachers and pastors and youth pastors. And I mean, you put all of those people with your hands on a young man, and he better turn out right. He's going to get his tail busted.
He's what I like to call a good old Kentucky boy.
That's simple. And you know what? It's really, life can really be that simple, and it works, and it works well. And, Reed has an opportunity to now turn right back around and pour into his community. And he will, not because we're going to make him, but because he wants to. It makes sense. And he loves kids. He loves pouring into kids, helping kids. And, that's life. That's a fulfilled life. And it's the least that he can do and the least that we can do for what we've been given. So we're thankful, enjoying the ride, and hoping for big things this year.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's got some work to do now if he wants to catch Dad, right?
Yeah, he does.
He does.
He's up for it. And I tell you, they got a good group brewing. And hopefully this group will continue to pull together. The best team at the end of the year will be the team that has pulled together, that really plays for something more than self, that is playing for the name on the front of the jersey. And when you do that, then great things happen for the name on the back of the jersey. But it's a team game, and I think that they realize that. You're seeing some early indications that they understand the power of sharing the ball and cheering for one another. And if that momentum can build, then, they have a chance. Still got to play their best basketball, get some good breaks, and all of that has to come together. But, you got to give yourself a chance.
I want to ask one question because, I don't want to be all praise Reed on his play and everything, because I'll say that that's kind of sounds mean, but what's his weakness? What do you think his downfall is right now? What's something that he needs to be working on, that we need to be watching? Okay, this is Reed. He's in the gym every day. This is what you need to be watching, see that he improves on this. That may be his Achilles as far as right now in his early career. What are you working with him on there? What can we look forward to seeing an improvement on that you might think help him more?
Yeah, well, basketball is a hard game to play perfect. And so you have to continue to, work on your skills. And as much as I want him to work on his weaknesses, I want him to work on his strengths. Okay. And so I want him to keep shooting the basketball and keep working on, handling the ball, passing the ball, making the right plays. But the thing that he has to work through is just experience. It's a new game. So, the biggest thing is he just doesn't have any experience. And so he's got to get out there and he's got to try some things, and, he might make some mistakes, but he's got to learn from that. So if he can have a short learning curve and know that, that pass that I made in high school, I can make that pass at this level. That guy's actually 7'2". So, or that guard is the quickest guy I've ever played against. So I got to be able to learn. So really that's it. There's some things from a standpoint of physically he's trying to put on some strength and all of that. All of that will take care of itself. Yeah. But, he's just got to continue to listen, be a great listener, be a great teammate. Always come to practice and games with the attitude that we got to get better and we're going to win. And when you commit to that, then special things will happen for them.
Yes, sir.
Well, listen, I could sit here and talk with you about basketball this whole time for days, really. But I know your time is valuable, and thank you for taking a little bit out of your day to spend with, Cats Chats, this awesome podcast for Kentucky sports and everything. But I know you probably got things you got to do. Might have supper waiting on you. Might got to go out and make Reed run some conditioning laps. I don't know what. But, Jeff, again, I just want to thank you so much for joining the show and being a guest on here. Maybe next time we can have you on later on, just talk some more midseason and how things are going or something like that.
Pleasure, guys. Enjoy. Right. Appreciate your
conversation,
guys.
All right, thank you. Go Big Blue. There we go.
All right. Well, I tell you what, that was special.
Absolutely.
Awesome getting an interview right there. He's a great guy. Like I said, and I wasn't just blowing smoke when I was talking about Reed. Like I've met him, just very respectful young man, and you don't see that a lot in teenagers today.
Oh yeah.
Let's be honest. And I thought that was awesome. We got a comment right here. We might want to show this because I think we might need to talk about this a little bit.
Oh yes. Yes, that actually is our next point. Let's see here. Let me go ahead and be bringing that up. Of course, I'm not even going to try because I've been practicing all day on how to pronounce his name correctly. So I'm going to let you take that, Mark. I'm going to try to.
Pretty sure it's Zvonimir Ivisic. If I'm not, I could be wrong, but I'm just going to call him Big Z. We had Big O. We had Oscar, Big O. We're going to call him Big Z, man.
And of course, I think it's going to be showing here. Let me know that when that pops up, please.
All right, it's not up yet, but I tell you what, this young man, he is built different. And as excited as I was about this class we have coming in, and now you are bringing in not your normal 7'2", 7'3" guy. Like I've heard some people call him 7'2". I've heard some people call him 7'3".
7'3".
A lot of times when you get a player of that size, I mean, they're clumsy.
Let's be honest. They're slow usually
and
too.
Some of I'm sitting here just watching this of him shoot. The kid's just stroking it. Like he can shoot outside. He can dribble. And
he's quick.
He's elusively quick. And how many defensive mismatches might that cause? Because if you put your big on him, he can take him outside and then dribble drive around him. I've seen him make no-look passes. He's just – and, they said he was projected as maybe going second round when he tried out for NBA scouts, and that's kind of why he wanted to go back. And I actually had a quote that he actually had, if I can find it real quick, of why he decided to come to UK. He said, "I decided to come to Kentucky because it's the best spot in the U.S. for talented basketball players. And Coach Calipari is a Hall of Fame coach that sent more players to the NBA than anyone else." And that was a quote that he made. And he knows what Coach Cal can bring. And I think that's kind of, how Jeff Sheppard was talking about how Coach Tubby Smith really cared about his player, really developing it. Coach Cal's kind of the same way. A lot of people get mad because of the X's and O's, but he develops talent.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
He knows how to exploit those good things that you can do. And it's amazing to me that here we are in August and you got a kid of this caliber that could be coming to UK.
And I mean, looking right here, of course, my screen, guys, is smaller because we have the website we're on. So you all are probably getting a full screen of what you're seeing of us. So I'm looking at probably a 2/3 live of us, and then what's playing of Big Z is even smaller than that. So watching him shoot, he looks like Tyler Hero from behind. Now, again, when it's blown up, probably don't. So, like, the guy's shot actually looks good. Like, I know I've talked to you about this many times, Mark, where shooters are shoot, but sometimes they don't go in, but you can still tell that they're actually shooters by their form, by their confidence, just the way that they shoot the ball. Some people shoot because they have to. But this guy, I mean, he looks fluently in the way that he's shooting the shot and everything. At 7'2", 7'3", I don't care what you are. If you can pull the defense out like that and be able to shoot the mid-range, the three-point shot plus dribble a little bit, and he's not a liability on defense as far as the pick and rolls or switching like that. He seems to be able to move his feet quite well. I've seen a lot of chase down blocks that he did off of a pick and roll coming around on someone. So what I think special about this is the NBA is kind of transitioning to a bigger guy who is ball dominant, I'll say. You've got Giannis, you've got Joker, yeah, and a lot of these bigger guys, Embiid, even at this size, Chet, Holmgren, is that
Luka?
Right? I wouldn't go so
he's
much
not
as Luka.
That quite. I just love Luka. I can't help it. Man.
Yeah, he's more of a guard. So I'd say small forward that is ball dominant and everything. But
I
yes,
agree with Matt right here.
Yeah,
Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah,
kind of.
But who hopefully has a little more desire to actually score the ball instead of just settling for a jump shot. But the crazy thing is, when it comes, we'll say January, February, and our whole team is healthy, because one reason why I think this commit happened is maybe Bradshaw's a little bit more hurt than what we thought, or even who's the other one that's hurt right now?
Onyenso.
Yes, but I did see something that said Bradshaw should be back in, I think, August now. But so we may have a front court where Bradshaw is playing the 3, maybe, and Big Z is the power forward at 4.
And I mean, this is a good problem to have, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's so many options on this. Like, we could have 7-footers on 3, 4, and 5 position now. Now, I don't know how well that would go, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't know that you could. That'd be a big lineup. And what's weird is it's a very contrast lineup to what we played in Canada. We had Mitchell, who was running the 5 some.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, so you got Mitchell, who's versatile. He can go from the 4 to the 5. And we have a lot of guards, like Matt's saying, that we're going to have to play in and out too. So this is going to be, I think it's going to be an exciting lineup. Now, let's just be honest. With 3 bigs, you have a tendency, one of them's probably going to be hurt a lot about, you know what I mean? That's why you can't have enough bigs. I don't want another, who was it? Scal that got hurt. And we never really truly got to see all that he could do early on. And he was one of the
Noel. I mean, he had a great run and then got hurt late in the season as well.
But I'm like Matt. I could see Mitchell playing a 4 and Z playing a 5.
Mm-hmm.
I could see Mitchell playing a 4 and Bradshaw playing a 5. And I could see Onyenso getting some minutes in there too. So, I mean, it's going to be exciting, just the different fundamentals that young man has that he can bring in.
Oh, yeah. Like, Calipari is going to have more options with this lineup now than he's had in a while, as far as it may hinder a little bit because, back in the, what was it, the platoon era, the blue platoon against the white platoon, no one ever knew who was going to be in at the end of the 5, the closing 5, if you will. You got to kind of go with hot hands. Sometimes that can run into some issues of no one ever knows who's going to be in the closing situations. But it's a good problem to have, just for the fact that most of the times with Kentucky players, they come to Kentucky because Calipari improves their game so much to have them NBA ready that their stats for the season are going to be low. And NBA owners, or governors, what they call them now, are okay with looking into that because when they go to the combine, they can actually see all the skill sets that they have that they've obtained with the Calipari era. So, yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. The guy is going to protect the rim. I've heard some people say that he may challenge Anthony Davis' single season block record. We'll see because he is very mobile with the lane slides as well. So, yeah, I'm happy. I don't want to be the guy that keeps saying, I'm excited. I'm happy that this Big Z has signed, or I guess not really signed, committed to Kentucky. I think he is a real deal as far as raw talent. That's one of the big things that I've seen. Like last year, over across the seas, he averaged, I want to say, 9 minutes. And it's because he's playing in an adult league, so he's not getting the minutes on there. But you go back 2 years where he played with, I think it's 18 and under, where he was averaging 20 minutes a game, like 19 points and all this different stuff. So, yeah, it could be one of the most deepest Calipari era ever, as Caleb shared on here, deepest since 2015. Matt just said. What's so great about the depth that they have is it's multiple spots depth too. It's not like 5 guards that you can rotate all around. Like you've got bigs. Simply 4 bigs that can rotate anywhere. You've got at least 5 guards that can rotate as well. So it should be fun to watch this season of how it plays out.
Yeah, he said he thinks this puts Hugo kind of the odd man out. But what I do like about it, that gives him more time to develop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you bring in bigs that are better than you, you have to get better. If you want to see the floor, you're going to have to play better. So that's one thing I love about the talent level that Coach Cal is able to bring in is if you're not going to get better playing against the B team all the time. Let's be honest. You need to play against real talent. And that's why teams scrimmage and things like that. So if you want to get better, you got to play against better competition. And it's going to make these guys compete, going to make them go at it and practice. And but the big thing is if nothing else, it helps you in practice.
Oh, yeah.
Because I just don't want this to become another Enes Kanter situation. You know how he never did get to play for us. And you know, with him coming from Croatia, I don't know all the rules and regulations. You know, he's committed. He's coming to Kentucky, but I don't know the red tape that they need to go through. I've not really looked into that. I've seen a couple articles saying, well, they're going to have to check this, but I'm excited. I like Johnny here. He said it could possibly be the deepest team. We got to watch the games to find out. He's right.
Yeah. And, you know, as far as the Kanter comparison to this, I feel like Enes' problem was more of the pro athlete, which, you know, we know Big Z is a pro across seas where he's playing in the adult league. But the NIL, I feel like, should wipe away all that situation. Now, I'm sure, again, there's red tape always. But I think the NIL will help whatever is going to be the holdup on this one.
Yeah, and I'm kind of like Matt. I think Cal has a very good feeling that they can make this work to say, hey, here we are in August. We're going to add him. And I'm like you. I'm excited. I'm not just happy. I'm excited. I'm
thrilled.
Overjoyed.
Yeah, I'm out of my vocabulary. It's not that big, man. You know that.
You're all right, man.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have thought that in our second show, we'd be talking to Jeff Sheppard and about a 7'2" Croatian coming to UK.
About Kentucky basketball when football's not even kicked off yet. And, of course, on our next episode, we may have to dip a little bit into Kentucky or football because, you know, there's been a lot of Yahtzees talking about flipping even some of the twins that could be changing over to Kentucky. And, of course, this Saturday, I think, is the fan day at the Kroger Field where you can meet some of the players and see their practice and everything. So we will get into some Kentucky football.
We're going to have to talk a little bit of football. Just Devin Leary, man, he's going to be fun to watch.
Already on the list, I think, for one of the top players as well. So, yeah, it should be fun season. I actually think we're going under the radar in football again. I think a lot of teams are predicting us at like 6 wins. I think we can get 8. Perfect season, I think we could get 10, but that's reaching, I believe. So we'll get into that.
Saying there's a chance.
So always a chance. Let's see, I'm reading Matt's comment here on the side. I guess you bring it up. Jeff Goodman gave us a D+ for the summer grade.
Now, is that football or basketball?
Yeah, he's talking football because 8-4, 9-3. That's where I'm at. I think 8 is given for us, Matt. And of course, we're getting into the football talk. We'll do this more on the next episode. Maybe we'll try to get a football player. I don't know, Tim Couch. Let's just throw that out there. But yeah, I think 8 should be our minimum. 7, just because things can happen. But 8, 9, I'm happy with, and I could see a 10 season, 10-2, because we play, I think, Georgia. And Tennessee's a good team now. Let's not give them too much credit. That's all I want to say about Tennessee.
I mean, you have to. They've got a good football program.
They do. Let's see here. Mark, that
was our summer grade for basketball. A D+.
For basketball?
Did Jeff Goodman watch the Canadian games? Did he watch Global Jam? I don't see how you're going to give somebody a D+ when you're playing without your bigs and you dominate the way they did.
Well, we were a little behind on knowing who's going to be our guys as far as bigs too. So, I mean, I can understand it because where Oscar didn't come back, a couple players went on. Livingston was hesitant. Reeves, we didn't really know what was going to go on. He talked about not going to the NBA, but he also mentioned maybe not coming back to Kentucky. So maybe that's what went into some of it. I'm just trying to understand on there maybe.
I don't know. He said the page came out yesterday. I
never mind that. No
grade at all. I could see maybe like if it came out yesterday, giving them a B- just because I thought they played well for what they had. I mean, I really do. I felt like they were very unselfish. They shot the ball a lot better than we've been known to lately. So I don't understand that at all.
No clue. But let's go ahead and transition to our next topic. I'm getting it pulled up here where I can share. Let's see here. This great account on Instagram. I can't really tell. Let me look at it. It looks like
it's ours.
Cats Chat Pod on Instagram. If you guys want to follow that, they put up this great graphic here. Start, bench, cut. Who you got, Big Blue Nation? And of course, it's got Jamal Murray, De'Aaron Fox, and Tyler Ulis. All different eras of when they played. I do know I'm the one that created this. I know that Murray is more of a shooting guard, but in the NBA, he's playing more point guard as well. So I wanted to put this 3 here and ask your opinion, Mark. Who would you start, cut, and bench on this?
You don't listen. I love all 3 of these players, but I got to cut Ulis just because of his. I mean, I love him, but if we're talking about going up head to head against another team, a lot of these, you got a lot bigger guards now. And I got to have, if I'm starting a point guard, I'd have to start Fox.
I mean, it's what you want. There's no wrong answer.
I would have to start Fox, and Murray would be on the bench because to me, he's a shooting guard. Now, and I know I'm sitting here going, yeah, they just won the National Basketball Association championship.
Don't ever call it the National Basketball Association again.
Sorry,
that just
NBA.
The NBA.
Okay, They just won the finals. I get that, but to me, true point guard, I'd have to go Fox as my starter.
See, you're killing me. And Matt, I know you put Ulis and you put Murray. I'm not for sure what you meant on that. Is it start Ulis and bench Murray or what? So please, if you don't care in the comments, let us know what you mean. Mark, I'm going to be completely different than you on this, and I am proud of it. If I am starting a point guard that can do everything, I'm starting Ulis. The defense that he can play, I've always was worried about Ulis being switched on pick and rolls and being on the block against some guys as far as guarding bigs. But if you watched him on big guards, he was so fast he would run around them and pick their pockets before they moved. Because I'm like, man, if they turn and shoot, they've scored. But like there was numerous times where he would just poke the ball loose while they had it at the hip, at the small man level. I don't want to say there's no flaws, but I mean, he had a nice shot. He could always find the open guy. Ulis, you said the word pure point guard. To me, it's Ulis here. And as far as who I bench,
I'm just talking size.
I know size is his hindrance, but he makes it up for heart big time. The gash on his eye against Louisville.
See, that's why I hate these things. It makes me sound like I hate Ulis. Ulis was one of my favorite players. I met Ulis. I liked him. I'm just going straight off. You put me in these positions, Mike.
Well, that's gives a discussion. But I would bench Fox and cut Murray.
See, I'm just thinking about now too. Fox still playing point in the NBA.
Well, see, I'm going by college here because
Ulis is coaching, and it's just I don't know. And I agree. You know, Matt says in college Fox wasn't a shooter. He wasn't. He's had to turn into more of a shooter in the NBA,
in which he still lacks a decent, well, I'll say a knockdown shot. Like the mid range. I mean, he's Westbrook skill as far as in the NBA, just speed, but he's got that great pull up at 15 foot, right at the elbow at the free throw line. And I mean, he's developing that. I mean, I don't think his 3 points a high amount, but I mean, it's respectful enough. But Murray, I mean, he's automatic. He is a 1B to the superstar of the Denver Nuggets. But as far as my college, what I would take is Ulis and bench Fox, because I even think Fox back against Lonzo Ball at UCLA, who was supposed to be the next big thing, and Fox ate him up during that little head-to-head that they had. So, yeah, I'm going Ulis, Fox, and cut Murray. Now, there's no wrong answers, as this Robbie says, trending on Twitter now. Mark hates Ulis.
Oh, dear. Oh.
So,
and that's the funny thing. That's why I hate doing these, because, like, I like each of these players for different things. Like, I've always been like that. Like,
Matt says, to him, Ulis may be best PG ever at Kentucky. Whew. Fan favorite, I'll give you that, but I don't know. I'd have to definitely look into it. You're not far off. I'll say that. SEC Player of the Year, Defense Player of the Year as well. He was a wonderful college player. Only reason why he didn't play longer in the NBA is because of his height.
And I tell you, Ulis, I believe, is probably one of Cal's favorites. Like,
oh yeah,
because he was a floor general, and another one of Cal's favorites was Higgins, Ashton Higgins. Just the way that he was a general on the floor, and he get everything going. Those probably two of Cal's favorites. I remember reading an article somewhere, and I can't remember where I found it. But yeah, I hated that Higgins wasn't even on this list, because he was an amazing point guard as well.
See, now look at you saying hated that I didn't even put Higgins on the list. See,
we're going to trend now. It's going to be Michael hates Higgins on Twitter. So,
even Matt put SGA better than Fox and Murray. See, I feel like SGA's had a better NBA career so far. Like, am I just fogged memory of what he did at Kentucky? I know he was good, don't get me wrong, but I feel like Fox, Ulis, and Murray were more standouts. I'd even go with a guy that turned it up that under the radar was Marquise T. And, he had a bad mid or early season, but once they got out of their Calipari's Christmas break practices where it's a lot harder and more focus into it, he came out of that break there and really turned on to be a much better point guard for us. So, I mean, Marcus Teague was even a player I could have put on this list too, but there's only 3 spots.
Well, and the thing is some of these players at the college level, I don't even think we got to see their full potential.
No,
you had so much talent on some of these teams, you couldn't really see what they could do, because it was they had to play into the system, and I think it kind of did limit some of them, and you get to see more. And I think SGA is one of those you're talking about. Like, I don't think we got to see everything he was capable of.
What year? Can you think of what year he was there?
Man, I'd have to look it up. It's sad that I'm a math teacher, numbers of years. That's what gets me every time.
Well, they all kind of mushed together, because I didn't realize that Ulis – I mean, I remember Ulis and Booker playing together, but I also think Ulis played with Cat as well, Carl Anthony Towns. And I'm just like, man, it seems like those two seasons were so far apart in between, but they weren't.
Yeah.
But who else did Shea play with? I can't even think right now. Poitras, I think.
Did he play with Kid Gilchrist? See, they're all running together to me. This is going to get me. You're going to make me look it up, aren't you?
Yeah, I just got a text from Dustin. He said that he and his son was trying to watch our show, but we kept saying the word hate, and he was getting mad. We made Ben mad.
Uh-oh. I'm sorry, Ben.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ben.
We're sorry. We didn't mean to.
And Daddy's still a sissy. Just remember that.
Absolutely on that one. But let's see here. I want to say he was drafted in 2018, maybe.
Let's see.
Here's Caleb Ashley.
2018, he was drafted by the Charlotte Hornets. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean,
and he was traded to the Clippers.
Yeah, I believe on draft night, like when he was drafted, traded over later.
So, see, I got to go find.
What do you find?
I'm going to find the roster from 2018.
Okay.
Because, let's see. You had Keldon Johnson, Quade Green, Nick Richards, Emmanuel Quickley. That was another one I liked watching play, was Emmanuel Quickley.
And he was like sixth man half the time.
You had Johnny David, Brad Calipari, Jamarl Baker, Tyler Hero, Zan Payne, Reed Travis, E.J. Montgomery, and P.J. Washington.
Okay.
So that would have been the 2018. So I might need to look at the 2017 roster. Let's see.
Here's Robbie with a big comment. That's one thing that he hates about Calipari era is the one and done guys. It's a different crop every year. It's hard to pick favorite players when you only get to see them for one season.
See, but I kind of like it just because you've always got that chance. And I know a lot of people don't like it, but I do. You always got some of the best talent out there.
Well, to me, yes, I agree with Robbie to an extent, but the past few years, we've not been one and dones too much. We've had 2 or 3 players that were one and done, but Oscar played 2 years. Let's see here. Chris getting him. Robbie Middleton sounding like a boomer. I mean, I'm trying to think quickly here, but I mean, Oscar again 2 years. I think of Cauley Stein played 3 years. I mean, we've had a lot, and a lot of transfer portals have come to us. Yes, they're here for 1 year, but technically they're not one and dones. It's been some graduate players that came over. It's been older guys. It's just they're 1 year with us, but they ain't really one and dones here in the past, I'd say 5 years at least. Caleb saying, I mean, look at the last few years, vets just not been successful.
Yeah.
So
I was looking, Michael, some of the guards that played with Shea. You had, I don't even remember Dylan Pulliam. I don't remember that name, but Jamarl Baker, Calipari, Johnny David, Hamadou Diallo. I do remember him.
Wow, good job. That's been a great.
Quade Green. But this was the same group. You had Jared Vanderbilt. You had Kevin Knox. P.J. Washington was there still. You had Wenyen Gabriel. So these are some of the players that he played with on that team. And I tell you what, that was a fun team to watch as well. Wenyen Gabriel, I really enjoyed watching him play. He hustled.
Of course, and that's what he does in the NBA. He plays for the Lakers, or he did this last year. And, that's why people fell in love with him was all the hustle that he was. Let's see here.
Chris's comment right here. Maybe more difficult to keep track of, but I'll take the success we've had with one and done players over the struggles we've had with the transfer of multi-year heavy teams recently.
I do agree with that. I do.
And a lot of people don't understand. It's kind of like what Jeff Sheppard was talking about earlier. Like, you got to let players develop too. These guys are all coming in. Like when you have a fresh batch of players like we had this year, it's going to take them a while to gel. Don't judge them on the first few games. If we lose a couple games, you know how fan bases are. It kills me. Like, nobody has patience anymore. You got to let these teams develop. It's like Sheppard said, they weren't picked to win the national championship in '98 when they won, but they did.
That's true. Yeah.
And it's because they gelled at the right time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, the one and dones really has been the ones that went on and had a better career in the NBA more than what we've had. And of course, I'm a Kentucky fan. I would rather us be better in Kentucky than in the NBA. But these players are wanting to keep moving on. So that's what the basketball era is now. I mean, they're worried about self, and they should be. I mean, we can say that we love Kentucky and everything. We want rings or championships or banners and everything. But at the end of the day, the players that are playing there, they're wanting to make sure that they have a financial successful life. And coming to Kentucky for 1 year, getting ready for the NBA like Cal does his players, and the long history of accolades that he has in athletes, that's what you're going to do. So, I mean,
well, it's like what Big Z said. He's come to Kentucky because he knows what Calipari can do. He's seen what he can do with players, and he went and tried it. Was going to go ahead and test the waters. Looked like he'd be a second-round pick, and Matt, I think it said earlier that people on the inside are saying, like, if he develops the way they think he can develop, he could be a top 10 pick.
Just for the raw talent that he's bringing at 7'2", 7'3", whatever you want to call it, still probably growing some. Yeah. The athleticism that he has, his footwork that I can see as far as running up and down the court. Yeah, you draft him and let him develop for sure. But speaking of developing, being good, and letting them move on this, I want to ask you a hard question here.
Yeah, great.
Going on to our next topic, let me get rid of my graphic here. I don't have another graphic. I do apologize. And I actually
like pictures, Michael.
I know. I will try to work on that. That's something that on my other show, my MNC Hoops, CJ does wonderful at. But my next question is, and I may have to do this, bear with me. Which team underachieved? And my question on that is based on the 2009 Calipari's first year compared to the 38-1 team that was so close to running the perfect season. The 2000 and I text you that. I'm sorry, I already forgot it. 14 is it?
So you're talking about John Wall's team.
John Wall's team.
John Wall. That was, who was it? John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins.
Daniel Orton, Eric Bledsoe, that team. And then the next one, I think, is the 2015, maybe. I'm going with what Matt said here.
Talking about with Karl Anthony Towns and them losing in the Final Four.
Yes, because it's, to me, those both teams should have been the team that were going to win and just didn't. The talent that the 2009 team had was phenomenal. Cousins, what all he did as well with John Wall. Of course, there's rumors that some of the players that don't know who just couldn't get along with each other as far as, hey, it's my team, and they didn't gel. They didn't go fishing like the 2023 teams doing right now. They didn't go bass fishing and bond together. And then the 2015, go ahead.
Now, in 2009, they lost, was it to West Virginia in the Elite Eight? Am I wrong on that?
I think you are right. I think it was the Elite Eight.
And then Karl Anthony Towns. Now, I agree with Chris right here. The Archie Goodwin team underachieved the most. That team had a ton of talent. And I even think of James Young in that era. But, with the talent we brought in, and I was right. Matt said it was West Virginia they lost to. But to me, it's hard for me to say the 2015 team underachieved. I mean, they lost one game all season. They should have won the game against Wisconsin. I was at that game. I mean, there was a shot clock violation. It was not called. We end up losing that game. Now, shoulda, coulda, woulda. You can blame the refs all day. You're going to have bad calls in the game, but it's hard for me to call that an underachievement because I really believe we could have beat Duke. I really do. I believe we had the defensive matchups that they didn't want to match up with, and I think we could have beat Duke. Now, the 2009 team, I did expect, but let's be honest, man. As a fan, we expect national championships every year. As a true fan, you want to compete every year. Now, as an honest fan, I'm going to say, I know we're not going to win every year, but I want that shot. I want that chance. You're looking something up. You're in deep concentration over there.
Well, I'm listening to you, but I thought the 2015 wasn't that year, but I'm trying to figure it out.
Well, if you're talking about the Karl Anthony Towns team, that's the team that it was up in Indianapolis.
That's what I was thinking, but I thought I just found something that said that they lost. Okay, no, 31-0 record. Okay, 38 wins, tied the 2012 team. Okay, So yeah, they're 38-1 and they lost. Yes. Players. The reason why I feel like they're in that conversation of underachieving is if you can go 38, championship to me is what your end game here should have been, and they didn't achieve that. I feel like they were more ready than the 2009. But if I had to pick in conversation with you, I would go with the 2009. I feel like the 2015 season with Karl-Anthony Towns going and losing that one game, they were there. They just failed on one game, So as far as picking on who I think it is, I'm going to go with the 2009 with the whole talent that they had. What was it? They had like 5 first-round draft picks that year. Daniel Orton, who didn't even hardly play for us, got drafted, I think, at number 9.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at on it. And I'm sorry, I was trying to look up because I'd seen something that had Kentucky losing 5 games. I'm like, that's not right for that year. And I was trying to make sure I wasn't saying something wrong there. So I apologize. What team did you pick was the underachievers for you?
I would probably have to go with 09 as well because, I mean, you look at the 2015 team, they did make it to the Final Four. And like I said, they lost. It was sad. They should have never been in that position where that made that big of a difference. And I felt like the 2009 team should have made a deeper run.
That's why I feel like it's the most underachieved team that was there because it was the groundbreaking, the pioneers of the Calipari era. But Chris brings up, and I'm glad you clicked on it right at the right time there. It was the year after the championship. Of course, if this gets to a podcast, I'll read out what he's saying here and makes a great point. The 2012-2013, after winning the championship in 2012, they had Archie, a good one. They had Noel, Kyle Wilcher, who left and went on to play for Gonzaga, Willie Cauley-Stein, Poitras, and they went to the NIT and lost first round. I mean, I really probably should have put that on there as one of the teams. But 2009, I feel like the hype that they had was so much bigger. John Wall, we had the dance and everything.
Yeah, well, I kind of agree with Matt, though. The problem was we didn't have shooting in 2009. You didn't have that dead eye behind the arc. He's like 3 for 30 from 3-point. I mean, you can't do that in a game in the college level if you want to compete. You gotta, and that's why I think there's a balance there you got to have with the team. You got to have a shooter. Having all crazy freak athletes is great, but it doesn't always work out.
Of course not. But, as far as countering that, I even think the Julius Randle era, can't tell you what year it is, but they were talking about how Kentucky has went old school as far as not shooting the three as it's been changing there. Julius Randle, I think they had Marcus Lee during that time as well. Jabari, what was his name? Johnson, I think. Who am I trying to say here?
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe I'm making that one up. Sometimes I make up names. But the Randall year were straight to 2 points only. Like it was ground pound, get it to the big man. Yes, Matt, that's who I'm trying to say.
Jabari Johnson?
Yes, Dakari. I was close.
You said Jabari, and I was like, Jabari played for Duke, man.
Listen, yeah, I know. I about went Jabari Parker when I started. Like, that's definitely not it. Listen, I make up names. We got this. Everyone knew who I meant except for Mark. Thanks, guys. No, but we had big men, and we were front court dominant in that. So, I mean, yes, I agree. You got to have shooters, and I feel like some of the shooters that we had just didn't pan out for us in those times, and we went to nothing but 2-pointers and the big men. So I feel like Calipari countered that, and we made it to deep runs, grade 8s, Final Fours with that. So I can't really blame shooting is the whole factor, because if you can get to the Final Four with not great shooters, you can win a championship. You just got to make it work out. You agree? No?
Sure.
Come on.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to have a shooter at some point. I mean, the ball has to fall in the hoop to win.
Mm-hmm. And yes, even Matt, I love you guys for throwing out the rosters and all this. It makes it so much easier. We had the twins with Randall Lee, James Young. I mean, who is a good shooter lefty that got drafted by the Celtics as well. It's just he didn't pan out in the NBA. So they were there. It's just they weren't hitting at the right time that year. Of course, we had Harrison's great shots, same spot, 2 different games later. But
3 of the most clutch shots probably in NCAA history.
They're up there. I don't know if I could say 3 of the most clutch because I even think Davison's shot, that one guy that we always see during March Madness shot, not even going to talk about that. But, I mean, there's tons of big shots. I clicked the wrong one here. Matt even brings up the Kimball Walker. They also had, was it – oh, man, Napier was the other one. Shabazz Napier during that, who was just hard to beat. Oh, I'm sorry, Mark. You clicked on one. Let me back up to Chris's comment.
That's what I was going to, was Chris's.
Go ahead. I'll let you do it because we're both kind of clicking them off of there.
Because we tried shooting too many threes in the West Virginia game in 2009. I think the team went 2 for 20 from 3. So that's what I'm saying. If you're not hitting, you got to know when not to shoot it.
Yeah.
That's the difference in the game.
Coming from the big man who shoots nothing but threes.
I know, but do I hit mine?
When you're hitting, yes, keep shooting. I love you. I'm just being mean to you.
I know when not to shoot, though.
There we go. Robbie, I'm not putting that comment up there. We're not talking about that.
I'm about to just kick him out of the group.
No, we just don't have to click on it, and it doesn't pop up on the screen.
There's certain names we don't say, Robbie. That's one
absolutely. Of them. But we're over an hour. I could keep talking, especially with the comments we got in here. Do you want to keep going?
We got guys in here talking with us. It makes it a whole lot easier.
Yeah, like guys, we were trying to stay an hour, an under era or timeline on that, but you guys are in here with us. So, I mean, if we want to keep on going, we can. Jody Meeks should have been on that 2019. That would have been special. That would definitely been that great guy. Knocked down a pure shooter, 51 up against Tennessee. Wonderful.
And, Caleb brings up a pretty good point here, too. But the Twins also could be blamed for costing the game against Wisconsin because if Ulis and Booker had been on the floor, it'd be a different dynamic of that game.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I go back to what Jeff Sheppard said on the show. Like, Reed has to learn as he's playing, And it's one of those things where as these guys are playing young, make a mistake, you got to learn from it when it's costly on that. Yeah, 100% from Matt. Do we have any other topics that we were wanting to bring up or talk about?
I don't think so.
That's it. So yeah, guys, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap this up. We're kind of at a standstill on what we were talking about there. I mean, I appreciate you guys being in the comments.
This was a fun show for the second show. I like having everybody in here talking with us.
Oh, it makes it so much
really
better.
Helps. You guys are going to have to start joining us every Tuesday. Bring up the controversial UK stuff. We'll talk about it.
Absolutely.
We just wanted to be a podcast where we can get on here and talk UK sports, and we can even talk other stuff, just anything UK. So
college related, Kentucky. Yeah, we'll definitely. Let's see what you guys may have covered this earlier, especially talking with Jeff's comments about not getting too high of expectations. But what are our expectations this year?
I'll be honest with you. I'm not saying national championship or bust.
Banner, baby. No.
Number 9. No, I want to see this team. To me, they need to. Matt says Final Four or bust. If they at least, man, I hate putting that kind of expectation on a team.
But we're Kentucky. Like that's
I'm kind of like Matt. I feel like this team should make it to the Final Four. Robbie says we're going to be burning couches in March.
Chris, I'm going to keep it real. This team to me has more of a family. What is it? What does Calipari always say? La Famille.
La Familia?
That's the same thing. Eastern Kentucky, okay? I was in almost, I combined the two. Bilingual, I just speak it together. But, I feel like this team has the camaraderie going on, and it's special on that part. Now, defense, what we've seen in Canada looks special and different as far as team playing together defensively. I liked it. A lot of different people getting in the action. My only concern is we've got 2 of our big people out now. We just signed a guy who is overseas. Is there going to be any kind of growing pains with him transitioning into
Just the team chemistry
American-style
with him coming
basketball?
in.
Yeah, it kind of makes me, and I'm so ADHD with this, but it kind of reminds me of the Miracle game with the USA Hockey beating Russia. You know, they had their team assembled, and then they went to another tryout to get one of the best hockey players in America, and all the team was like, "Man, you know, yeah, he's good, but we have our team already," and the guy didn't take him because it would have messed with the chemistry that everyone else had, and you know, of course, they went on to beat the Russia team in it, but we got to figure out how this guy is going to gel with this team and hopefully not cause more of a conflict adding that.
But I'm kind of like Chris here. It does feel like one of those special teams since the 38-1, one of the most. And, you know, Matt's saying should be kind of the best team since Hero, PJ Reed, Travis. I mean, we've got some excitement to look forward to.
My only thing that I want to always pump the brakes. I don't want to be every year we have this podcast be like Kentucky's going to go all the way, or this is a horrible year. They're horrible. They choked and all this whole 9 yards. You've got 64 teams that are playing in the tournament to win this, to be at this one spot. So I don't know. Saying that is justification of what we can expect. Final Four would be wonderful. I feel like if they reach to the Final Four, it's a successful year. I think, to me, Elite Eight is where we say, okay, we didn't underachieve.
Yeah.
Because the best team is going to be the one that's clicking on all cylinders at the same time together, and the most healthy team too.
When you're a team, though, that has Kentucky across that chest, everyone's gunning for you. Everyone you play, it's like their national championship. So it's to me, when you get to the Sweet 16, Elite Eight, all this, it's special.
Yeah, this is one of the feel-good teams that I'm really happy about. Like what I've said, you know, we've seen on Instagram Lives, the fishing, the movies going out together. It's just this team is using social media to their advantage, where we're actually already jumping into falling in love with the players and who we got. I just feel like there's something special what they are carrying into the season. So I hope we get a big run in the March Madness. But, guys, we're over an hour and 15 minutes almost here. I don't want to get to where we're sitting here kind of saying the same thing over and over. Matt, Chris, Robbie, Johnny, I think were some of the people in our comments. Thank you all so much. I see so many likes that we've got on here as well. But real quick, while you guys are still here watching us, listening to us, right now scrolling across the bottom, this helps us get the exposure to get us big. Follow us on Twitter, and it's at Cats Chat Pod. Instagram's at Cats Chat Pod as well, and Facebook. Of course, most of y'all are watching us on that, but of course it's facebook.com/ I guess, Cats Chat Pod as well. We'd appreciate all likes, follows, subscribes. We're going to try to get the podcast up hopefully by next week, and then we can have that going too, where y'all can go subscribe to that. Give us the 5-star that we deserve. But Mark, where can the people follow you at and find you at?
Well, on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it now, it's at mlawson15. You can follow me on Facebook. I'm just kind of hanging out with you, man. I'm kind of glad you talked me into this. I'm having fun with it. Go Big Blue.
Yeah, Caleb actually just followed us on YouTube. Thank you, Caleb. We appreciate that. Just got the notification live here.
And I actually do have an Instagram. I just never check it.
Well, you're going to start using it quite a bit.
See here, my Instagram would be, I don't even know how to. Oh, it's probably Big Daddy Lawson.
I was going to say it's probably Big Daddy Lawson.
Big Daddy Lawson on Instagram. Everybody always asks why I go with Big Daddy Lawson, because, well, I'm a large man. I have kids. My last name's Lawson. What better name?
I'm at loss of words on that. But
well, with that, let's wrap it up then.
With me, if you don't care, guys, you can also follow me on my Sunday night show at 9 p.m. It's MNC Hoops, where I talk everything NBA basketball with a couple of guys, CJ from New York and Nick from Florida. We're live every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. I'd appreciate that as well. But, yeah, follow all the Cats Chat, and you'll find us there anyways. Mark? until we see each other again, everyone, you have a great one. Great show. Jeff Sheppard, if you're watching this later, thank you again so much. And if you all missed him, go back and watch the beginning of this. He joined us for about 20, 25 minutes talking 90s hoops to now hoops, and it was just a fun time hearing him.
And we hope and pray you guys have a great evening, and God bless.